Hello, what's up ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Sonic the Hedgehog here, and I am of course back for some more yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Sonic Colors Ultimate for the PlayStation 4/PlayStation 5 due to backwards compatibility, as well as Xbox One, as well as Xbox Series X, along with Series S, PC, and of course the Nintendo Switch. So, last time we have managed to able to win through Sweet Mountain, and oh no, we've almost gone through everything, aside from those red star rings that I might as well come back into at some point in the future, throughout the majority of, possibly by the end of this month, but I'll talk more about that once we get to that point. So today for this episode is the fact that we are moving on to the next planet, which appears to be the planet Wisp. The most recognizable environment ever, because thanks to the forms of several Sonic spin-off titles that managed to able to actually include Planet Wisp several times, including the forms of the returning environment from the likes of Sonic Generations for the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 and the PC. And alongside with that, they'll bring that back during the course of Team Sonic Racing, which is of course the racing game that has ever come out, well, at least ever since in 2019. So, and of course, if you did not notice already, from that particular background noise you're going to be hearing, well, for the sake of this background music you're going to be hearing, this is the remix theme of the Forms of the Planet Wisp theme, specifically Act 1. Now, here's the thing about this though, is the fact that if those of you do not own the digital deluxe edition for the likes of Sonic Colors Ultimate and somehow managed to get the physical version of the game, well, those remakes musics from the likes of the Planet Wisp acts is actually locked behind the DLC, so because of that, dang, I fell off. But that's okay, because we managed to somehow respawn right into that specific point right there, thanks to Tails save mode, and hopefully that we still managed to keep ourselves our first red star ring throughout. Although unfortunately though, I don't think we can able to guarantee to get the S rank on this particular act so far, but that's okay, because I'll be doing these off screen, so because of that I'll talk more about that once we get into the rest of the remainings of those red star ring collecting. So because of that, yeah, not much else to say for this point, to be honest with you guys, apart from the fact that, well, relatively speaking, when it comes to everything else I would like to discuss upon today, that today's day is of course the, what day is it today? I forgot. Oh yeah, the 13th of January to get today, in this case in 2021 today, and it looks like that ever since until tomorrow for the UK release of, well, let's just say Kingdom Hearts Recoded for the Nintendo DS, that game is about to be becoming 11 years old in the UK, whilst during that time until likely in 2 months time in Japan, that you know, Kingdom Hearts 3D Dream Drop Distance will be 10 years old for the 3DS. Although, mind you, on the PS4 remastered ports version of the game, we're expecting to become more accurately 5 years old later on throughout the month. So, yeah, that seems all kind of cool and everything, especially noticeable because after all that we still on 2022 still, so either way though, let's just go ahead and do this little quick step feature. And hopefully we should be able to actually get another red star ring from there. In addition to that, we're also able to actually get ourselves the go for these rainbow rings. Oh, and by the way, something I forgot to mention about, and that's the forms of, with those particular dash rings, along with the forms of those rainbow rings, are actually turning into the similar kind of dash rings from the likes of Sonic Adventure. Well, you know, the forms of the Tails racing levels from the sake of the forms of Sonic Adventure gameplay style. That's basically that if you're flying through these little, well, ring dash or dash rings, whatever, if you manage to play as Tails, it kind of functions kind of like the same visual style. Like it does have these little arrows things now, as opposed to likely plain. Unlike the forms of how it does it on Sonic Unleashed, along with Sonic Generations, and even the original version of Sonic Colors, and especially noticeable with Sonic Forces as well. So, yeah, that's something worth to mentioning about. And, would you look at that, there's our first emphasis about the fact that the results music does not play at all. So, yeah, that's gonna be the another one of those moments that, like, basically, if after that particular results music is now ended, you won't be able to hear that particular fanfare for the sake of likely just trying to hear that amazing orchestrated victory theme. So as a result though, it feels a bit limited throughout, which is kind of unfortunate honestly, because either way though, there are quite a few times that utilizes like this from the likes of any other versions of the game still. Mind you, I was expecting for the patch to be able to actually fix the actual sound issues, or specifically the music problems, likely it does not play during the course of the results screen, or using some Wisp powers occasionally. So yeah, that might be something worth noting for. So here we go on to Act 2 now. So of course that we've already discovered the forms of the pink spike Wisp, which they'll obviously bring that back during the course of Sonic Generations from the likes of the Planet Wisp level, because, well, it seems pretty obvious. Well, only classic Sonic can able to actually pull off that particular Wisp power, as you guys should probably already know. So either way though, God, I hate these little ring jar-like objects, because sometimes it just really gets in my way sometimes, but which I think might be especially true if you really want to go after the remainings of the forms of, well, if you're trying to go for the S-rank runs, for certain levels anyway, but, oh well, no big deal, I think. But anyway, a few things I want to explain also is the fact that we've only got about 2 weeks left until Pokemon Arceus, well, let's just say Pokemon Legends Arceus game is about to be able to be released on the Nintendo Switch. So, for those of you other Pokemon fans out there, will be expected to be super excited about this particular title. Although, there might be some controversial parts out there, such as, for instance, it might not actually be the open world kind of game, unfortunately, unlike the forms of how it does on Breath of the Wild. With Breath of the Wild 2 coming up for the sake of this year if possible, well, at least they might try to mention more about Breath of the Wild 2 at some point later on in this year's E3, if possible, so because of that though, we can expect this much. But again, we'll see what happens there during at some point for the rest of this year so far, so anyways, let's go ahead and use the Jade Ghost Wisp to able to get the next red star ring from here. Now, I don't think we can able to probably get all of them, mind you, because, well, and also, if you somehow accidentally skipped over for that particular, well, let's say the checkpoint, because obviously checkpoints does also count as points, but also is the fact that if you're about to be able to try to miss the actual, like, the second star ring that I somehow already gone through, but if imagine if you accidentally missed that, basically though is the fact that the invisible wall will try to block your pathway, so yeah, that sure is something worth mentioning for the sake of time anyway, so I think, relatively speaking, when it comes to likely the Planet Wisp as the world itself, it might actually be one of the shortest worlds in the game, just because of how the fact that there's going to be a huge emphasis on the forms of likely smaller amounts of levels they might, doesn't take that long to go through, unlike the forms of how it does it on Sonic Generations, that, well, it's not so bad on Act 1, because, well, as long as you're trying to find those godforsaken red star rings to able to unlock the homing attack ability for classic Sonic, but for modern Sonic, on the other hand, though, oh man, it can really drag on at times, especially you have to go for this climbing, vertical shaft or something like that. But either way, though, let's not get ahead of ourselves at this point, because we've basically accomplished Act 2 here. So, of course, we still got an A rank, though, but that's okay, because either way, though, it looks like I'm doing pretty darn well. No sign to be found when it comes to the D rank, which is the worst rank in the game, much like the forms of, well, just like in Sonic 06, or, you know, Sonic Generations, and I believe Sonic Lost World as well. And, of course, Sonic Forces as well, if you want to include that. And, I think that could be also applies on the 3DS version of Sonic Lost World kind of thing about it, though. So, anyway, enough about that. So let's move on to Act 3, which this might actually be considered as to be one of the shortest levels, just because, well, again, it's like a combination of, like, well, for Act 1, or Act 2 is basically, it's like a, the first half of Act 1, and then, Act 3 is basically the second half of Act 1, potentially, where you're trying to do it with, like, quick steps and everything. So, yeah, you might be familiar with that, except with different enemy placements here and there, as well as the different red star ring locations here and there, as well as that, though, just the, well, just anything else you might as well expect. So, But again, to be able to actually hear the Planet Wisp remix music is the fact that this is actually being locked by DLC, which means you have to pay real money for it. Thankfully, it's a bit cheaper, although just like the forms of the bonus cosmetic pack, for the sake of the forms of the entire game itself, basically though, those prices doesn't cost that much though, so it's roughly about almost £4, so yeah, or likely $5 if you're in America or something, even though I never know about the forms of pounds converted to dollars as much as the other guys though, but I will try my best into it at some point while, well, let's just say if I was gonna go back into this game, or, well, Ray goes back onto Mario Party 7, and, also Maxi were able to carry on playing Super Mario 3D All-Stars, so... But I digress. So, and it feels like that we're actually getting almost every single red star rings by that point for Planet Wisp, because as far as I'm aware, although mind you, there's only one Wisp exception when it comes to able to gain every single red star rings as much as I can. That basically we still need to able to get the Purple Frenzy Wisp in order to able to actually get one of those red star rings. But so far we're actually doing not too bad actually, for the sake of trying to collecting them. Oh, do we might able to actually get... Oh, nice! S rank for the win! How nice and top notch for my skills department right there. And I believe the music is it completely gone? Yeah, it's completely gone again. It's gonna be some quite awkward moments like this, as I already explained that earlier, which is probably true, but I just don't understand why. They just managed able to ditch that the rest of the extended music for the result screen. But at the very least, we're going back into the original OST music for Planet Wisp, in this case the greatest music ever. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure I found the remix music is okay. Not the best either, but regardless of such though, it's there in case if you really want to get the DLC for it. Although, if you somehow missed out on the, again, with the digital deluxe edition of the game, then basically you're not out of luck, because you're still getting the DLC stuff after all, which is a good thing. So, yeah, because unlike the forms of how it does it on, well, let's just say, since I, lost my save file for the sake of Sonic Forces recently, and I can't able to actually redeem my bonus costumes anymore, just because not only does it expire in 2019, but also I couldn't find it anywhere on the PSN store, along with the forms of the Microsoft store on Xbox One store anyway, which as a result though, I think it's the only chance I might as well miss on those on multiple versions. Although, luckily I still managed to get those bonus costumes on the Switch version, because obviously with the Switch version I can obviously play that game on the go, despite I haven't touched upon the Switch version as much compared to the forms of the PS4 version, along with the Xbox One version for the sake of achievements and trophies essentially, but regardless of such though, that's as far as I can say about it. So yeah, that's the part right there that I somehow accidentally fall off, as you can clearly saw for about a few moments ago. That I found that moving platforming segment can be quite tricky and finicky, especially how to do with the stiff double jump and everything. But regardless of such though, thanks to Tail's save feature, it allows me to able to actually just bring myself back up a bit again. So yeah, that seems cool and everything. And we'll go for that little zip liner here and get the next, and I think this is actually the final red star ring on the stage. So yeah, we did awesome, and of course since we've done awesome throughout, we still get ourselves a glorious, gorgeous S ring. So top notch for my skills. So anyways, that's that done, and I believe we pretty much at the halfway point of this world already, which is pretty quick.
You know, as alien as this place is, there's something very Eggman-ish about it.
I think he's transforming it somehow, making it part of his theme park.
Attention guests, if you can hear this message, you are trespassing in an area still under renovation. If you are not a robot, please return to the main park areas and ignore anything evil you might have seen here. Thank you.
It looks like the theme of his park is universal domination and the conquest of alien races.
It's more than a theme, it's a reality. He's using them like some kind of living intergalactic gasoline.
That's pretty low. even for a sleazeball like Eggman.
Some displacement of indigenous aliens and destruction of natural resources may occur. Eggman Enterprises not responsible.
You getting any of that?
Yeah, they're totally freaked out. It sounds like they're in shock because of public transportation and a loony nurse. Oh no, wait, scratch that. They're in shock because of their planet's strange transformation and having been dragged across the universe.
Well, I still can't believe he kidnapped the whole planet. How did somebody do that?
They're saying it was either ice cream or a tractor beam.
Yeah, well, I'm going to guess it wasn't ice cream shooting out of those generators.
If it was, I would get one for back home.
Dude, I'd get two. Now, if everyone will excuse me, I'm going to put a stop to these renovations.
Yeah, I'm sorry for this background noise you'll be hearing. That's mainly because I'm presuming that Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup are busy just trying to able to do a laundry for their washing machine. So as a result, unfortunately our washing machine is actually kind of loud at points, which I honestly admit I was pretty shocked about the fact that my washing machine was actually super damn loud, and especially it goes by significantly faster once the time went on, but it knows where it stands. So anyways, let's move on to Act 5 now. So again, it's going to be one of those another quick levels able to go through. I think the only longest level we can probably expect when it comes to Planet Wisp, when it comes to certain acts, well, it will be more accurately Act 1 and probably Act 6, just because, well, it's pretty obvious because of how the fact that, well, usually in the beginning of Planet Wisp starts off really nicely with all that, you know, grassy fields and everything, which will continue that in Sonic Generations, well, to be more specifically, in Modern Sonic's variation of that particular stage. Although, mind you, despite the fact that I've actually, well, one thing I should probably forgot to mention about something, ever since, during the course of, throughout the majority of the Let's Play of, certain games, as far as I'm concerned, to be more specifically with, well, just like anything else really, is the fact that, unfortunately though, I somehow lost my, some of the other files during the course of my, Sonic Forces save data, along with the Kingdom Hearts stuff, and especially noticeable with other titles as well, and I've lost all of my, downloadable games ranging from the Shantae series, along with the forms of Castlevania Anniversary Collection. Although frankly I still managed to go myself the first Shantae game, and I recently managed to download the second Shantae game for the Switch, so that way I can play that games on the go, along with the forms of Castlevania Anniversary Collection, and I no longer have my Mega Man Legacy Collections and Mega Man X Legacy Collections on the PlayStation system, which I'm also able to get those on the Switch instead, because, I don't know, something about the trophies grinding for those Legacy Collections can be a bit time-consuming to me though, most notably because you have to require the gold rank, if possible, on certain challenges. Although, I'm perfectly fine with Nintendo platforms, because that was the only thing I'm also able to get accustomed to, especially noticeable because, well, exponentially at some point in the future, that we might still able to try to plan out for the sake of Mega Man X marathon of games at some point in the future. Mind you, there's only like 8 of them. Well, technically 10 if you want to count the extreme games on the Game Boy Color. Well, at least as far as I assume that correctly. But hopefully we'll get around into those at some point, although we're about to be able to try to plan the next marathon of Let's Plays at some point, maybe this year if possible, but then again, we'll have to wait and see what happens during that at some point. Oh my god, that was really close, especially noticeable, I'm almost gonna get myself fluked off from that particular, well, not able to jump from rail to rail, but hey, at least I managed to become perfectly safe for that regard. So, anyway, and I guess there's not much else I can say in terms of the forms of today's discussion for this point, guys. Well, you know, again, apart from the fact that, well, usually relatively speaking, that we've almost at the halfway point in terms of January already, which, for the life of me, it's almost goes way too fast for certain points throughout, which is especially true for the sake of likely the future portions of our recording sessions goes by very fast and also very quick at the same time as well. So, because we've already, mentioned about that, is the fact that, well, again, time flies, doesn't it? So anyways, let's go ahead and actually kind of think about it is the fact that until at some point in, well, I don't know what I usually say for this point right now, because I know it has been such a quiet few hours since I actually managed to able to discuss on something, because obviously Maxty has already mentioned about a lot of things ever since in joining, obviously since in Super Mario 3D All-Stars playthrough, which, speaking of that though, is the fact that we might still able to try to consider trying to do like, well, I don't know what I usually record that. Maybe we can probably do the Let's Plays of these 2D Mario games again, but this time on the original form, specifically Super Mario Bros. The original, along with Super Mario Bros. 2 USA, along with Super Mario Bros. 3 in the NES original form, just in case it doesn't get anyone else get confused of the forms of likely the I don't know what I usually say for this point right now, because I know it has been such a long while since I actually considered so many plans for the sake of the majority of 2022, well, aside from the fact that, well, we're still working on Mario Party 7, and of course Super Mario 3D All-Stars, and possibly in the future, we might able to actually get into Kirby Star Allies at some point, because of, you know, Kirby and the Forgotten Lands is now finally coming out for the Nintendo Switch, and specifically in this spring, and also applies to Mario Party 8, so just in case we can able to finally caught up, for the sake of likely finally doing the Let's Play of Mario Party Superstars for the Nintendo Switch. In this case, the much more better version of Mario Party the Top 100, just because it has filled to the brim with nostalgia memory, as well as from that though, I would say the main menu portion of Superstars is actually way more better than the forms of the Top 100, in my opinion, just because it feels a bit simplistic in the Top 100. Whilst in the Superstars, it's more likely nostalgia for fans, so, which I appreciate about that, so. Hooray, I got another S rank, so I think, relatively speaking, that we've almost gotten every single S ranks throughout the majority of Planet Wisp so far, although, mind you, there are a few exceptions, mind you, which, if I can recall that we didn't get one in Act 1, just because, well, I could assure you because we somehow messed it up in the beginning, and also I believe we messed it up on the, well, I would say, even though it's kind of hard to say, because I know that, well, actually, kind of thinking about it, there was actually, okay, just 3 stages we didn't get S ranks from, so.
And there's the generator. It seems like these guys are getting harder and harder to find. I know for a fact these guys are getting harder and harder to beat.
Please remember, all planets in Eggman's incredible interstellar amusement park are, as far as you know, wholly owned properties of Eggman Enterprises and its subsidiaries. All unauthorized photography, video reproduction, or shutting down of generators is strictly prohibited. Thank you.
Eggman, I am going to save this planet, and I am going to free these aliens. No copyright law in the universe is going to stop me. We can save a lot of time and broken robots if you just quit now. You try to be reasonable.
So yeah, we stumbled across the familiar boss ever since and during the course of Tropical Resort, even though despite the fact it has a different name, as well as the different boss arena and stuff like that, no longer going to be able to try to do a rotating horizontal bar as platform, so it's now going to be a circular platforms this time, and basically just like before, if you really want to get the trophy or the achievement, you must able to actually hit him for about lesser than 3 hits, so because basically you have to hit him like 2 hits to be exact, and that way you can obviously deal double the damage than he forms of how it does it on regular homing attacks. So that's as far as you might as well able to consider able to try noticing this from this particular boss fight. So but still, this boss fight does remind me of one of the boss fights from the likes of Donkey Kong Country Returns, but we'll get to Donkey Kong Country Returns at some point in this year as well. So hopefully we'll be able to caught up with the rest of the series, along with the Donkey Kong Land trilogy of games, if possible in the future. But then again though, we'll have to stay tuned for those. Although we've already done the first game in the series after all, so but we'll get around onto Land 2 and Land 3 in the future, but not now anyway. So And there we go, that pretty much wraps it up for Planet Wisp, and once again, another S rank, so yeah, this is almost gonna be a flawless run for this world.
Wow, sometimes I even impress myself. For a second there, I wasn't sure I was going to pull it off. Well, who am I kidding? We both knew how this would end.
Are you talking to the broken robot who can't hear you?
Maybe. That's between me and the robot. See, the important thing here is the alien planet is free.
Absolutely.
So, we can just forget about the whole talking to dead robots thing, right?
Nope.
I knew you'd say that.
Oh, come on. I've seen you save the day a lot of times, but I've never seen you talk to a pile of metal.
Touché.
I just found it so fascinating to how the fact I always enjoy when Sonic always have a conversation with those robots and stuff like that, including boss robots as well. But anyway, 2 generators left now, so we should probably end things up here. So join us next time for more of Let's Play of Sonic Colors Ultimate, and that is the fact that we're going to be heading over to the forms of Aquarium Park. Although I would like to mention more details about Egg Shuttle, but I'll save that in the future. So I'll see you guys and join at some point in next Tuesday. Later, fellas.
This underwater attraction